नाम करता पुरख निरभाव निर्वैर अकाल मूरत अजूनी सैभं गुर प्रसाद जप आद सच जुगाद सच है भी सच नानक होसी भी सच एक ओंकार सतनाम करता पुरख निरभाव निर्वैर अकाल मूरत अजूनी सैभं गुर प्रसाद जप आद सच जुगाद सच है भी सच नानक होसी भी सच एक ओंकार सतनाम करता पुरख निरभाव निर्वैर अकाल मूरत अजूनी सैभं गुर प्रसाद जप आद सच जुगाद सच है भी सच नानक होसी भी सच वाहिगुरु 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 जी का खालसा वाहिगुरु जी की फतेह. Okay, so those of you that don't know me, I'm Gurmillan Singh, school teacher by trade, work at a Sikh faith school. So lucky enough I teach Sikh studies and RE, so I get to do my personal life and my professional life as one, talking about Sakhi. So today's talk, as the wider theme is power of Sakhi. Each talk is going to be being seen as one different element of that, okay, where they all at the end come together and have one universal message. So the topic that we're going to be talking about in this talk is the power of Rehit. Looking at what Rehit is, how it benefits us, how it protects us, okay, how can we improve our own Rehit, okay. So just some sources that I've used, okay. So we're going to be looking at Gurbani from Guru Granth Sahib Ji Maharaj, Bani from Dasam Guru Granth Sahib Ji Maharaj by Guru Gobind Singh Sahib Ji. You're going to be looking at Rehatname from Bhai Daya Singh Ji, Bhai Desa Singh Ji, okay, as well as other Rehatname, okay. So this is where most of the information's come from. And obviously just listen to Kartar from various different Mahapurukhs as well, okay? So we're going to use all of that to go through our talks for today, okay? So I'm going to try and limit how much I talk, because there will be parts where I talk quite a lot, but I do want to give you guys a chance to talk amongst each other, see what ideas you guys can come up with, and then we can just expand off some of those points, okay? So just to start with, 3 questions. Why do you think Rehit is important? How can Rehit benefit us, and how can it also protect us? Okay? So I'm going to give you a couple minutes, just with the person next to you or in a little small group, okay? Discuss these 3 questions, okay? Come up with why do you think it's important, how can it benefit us, and how can it protect us, okay? Let's go. Yeah, so we can see Rehit as something that helps us develop our Sakhi. So if anything, if somebody doesn't know, Rehit means discipline, okay? It means a code of conduct, okay? So building our Rehit helps us build our Sakhi, okay? The further you get onto your journey, the better Rehit you might keep, okay? The more stricter Rehit you might keep, some might say, okay? Anything else? Yes, Benji?
Rehit helps you Rehit helps you identify what is right and what is wrong.
Okay.
You can see the difference between both of them.
Okay, Rehit helps you identify between right and wrong. Yes, okay, because the Rehit keeps you on a path. Okay, it tells you the boundaries, the things you can do, the things you can't do. Okay, Rehit also creates an identity for us. Okay, of who we are. Okay, what makes us different. And before we dive into the Gurmat Rajah that we're going to do, just a little analogy. Okay. Of a lion, Okay, a lion is known to be king of the jungle. Okay, but what makes the lion the king of the jungle? What makes it the king of the jungle? Okay, if you look at it, lion's not the strongest animal in the jungle. It's not the quickest animal in the jungle. Neither is it the smartest animal in the jungle. So its physical attributes, it's not the strongest, it's not the fastest, it's not the quickest. But how does it then become the king of the jungle? Personality? Maybe. Anything else? Okay, so it is the mentality of the lion. It is the mentality that makes it the king of the jungle. That it's going to rule over that jungle. And for us, if we flip that and look at it into Gursikhi, okay, what makes us those kings? Okay, because we don't have numbers. Okay, if you look into all of our history, we've never had quantity. Okay, we've never had it. Look at Guru Gobind Singh Sahib Maharaj's times. Those battles that they fought in, they never had the numbers on their side, but they had quality. It was that quality that was able to, that they had to become successful. Okay, we have that. It is our Rehit. It is our Rehit that makes us the kings. Okay, that's what makes us unique. That's what makes us stand out against everybody else. Okay, it's the mentality of the lion that makes it the king of the jungle. In the same way, it is the Rehit that makes the Gursikh those kings, those Raje. Okay, so the Rehit can have many different benefits. Okay, that we're going to look to, and how it can protect us as well throughout our lives. Okay. So I apologise if I do stand in the middle. Okay, I did buy a little remote, but it didn't work. So I'm having to stand here by it. Why keep Rehit? Okay, what is the benefit of keeping Rehit? So Guru Sahib says, Guru Gobind Singh Sahib Maharaj says, Khalsa mero roop hai khas, khalso meh hon karo nivas. So Guru Gobind Singh Sahib Maharaj is saying that the Khalsa, the person that keeps that Rehit of an Amritari, okay, that is my form. That is my true form. That they are present in that type of Gursikh. Okay, the person that keeps that Rehit. Okay, and then Bhai Daya Singh Ji says the person that lives within that code of conduct. Okay, that person is the Sikh of the Guru. That there's no difference between Guru Sahib and the person that keeps the Rehit. Now, there's many different Rehitaname within our history that have been given the stamp of authority, the stamp of approval by Guru Sahib themselves. Okay, so although it might be written by Bhai Daya Singh Ji, Guru Gobind Singh Sahib Maharaj has approved it. Okay, and Bhai Daya Singh Ji is saying that person that keeps that Rehit, there's no difference between them and the Guru. Now, we take this to some extreme sometimes. Okay, that Guru Sahib says that in 5 Singhs, they're hazard, that they're there, okay? But what we need to look at is, do we actually keep that Rehit of the Panj Pyare, okay? There's a Sakhi, a story from the times of Baba Thakur Singh Ji, where Singhs come to do a benti to them. They thought, we're going to go in the roop of Panj Singhs. We're going to go in the form of 5 Singhs, and Babaji will have to accept it because we're going in that form. Okay, so they go to Babaji, they do that request, and Baba Thakur Singh Ji starts to laugh. Okay, they accept the benti that was done. Okay, out of satgar, out of respect for that maryada, that discipline of 5 Singhs, but they then question those things. That do you actually keep the Rehit, the discipline, to be part of those 5 Singhs? So it just shows us the importance of keeping Rehit. It doesn't just mean the physical what you can see, because we all look like Gursikhs. Okay, we all have different things that we would align ourselves to Gursikhi. Okay, but do we have that Rehit that is going to be able to benefit us, that is going to be able to protect us? Okay, and that's what we're going to try and dive into within today's talk. It's the school teacher coming out of you. So who can be called a Sikh of the Guru? Anyone want to try and answer this question?
Well, probably have to wake up from the like
Yeah.
That's probably a big part of it, yeah.
Okay, so somebody that wakes up Amrit Villa, that person can be considered a Sikh. Okay, anything else? No? Very quiet room today.
Basically, is one that's it that keep red. So it's very good.
Okay, a person that keeps Rehit. Okay, it's interesting. So, in part of the Kartar that you heard yesterday, right at the end, where Giani Singh were singing different pangtiyan, different tarne, okay, what they've been talking about is going to be linking to what we're going to be going through today, okay, in terms of the importance of Rehit, why keeping Rehit is important, okay. So Guru Sahib says within the Rehetname, the Rehni Rehe Soi Sikh Mera, Oh Sai Main Uska Chehra. Okay, the person that keeps Rehit, the person that keeps discipline. Now, there's many different aspects to Rehit. Today's focus is going to be on Panj Kakaari Rehit, or keeping Panj Kakaar, what's the benefit of those, okay? But you can take them out further, okay? You can take them out to be the Panjbani and Nitanim, keeping that Rehit, the Rehit of waking up at Amrit Vella, the Rehit of the Sangat that we keep, the Rehit of the food that you eat. Okay, just going back to something that we talked about in terms of what is the benefit of keeping Rehit. In the previous previous group, they were talking about different hormones, okay, and mental health. The Rehit can help us with that side of it as well. Okay, so in today's day and age, we're seeing it's becoming a lot more common for people to be suffering from anxiety or different types of mental health issues. Okay. I'm sure all of us in the room have experienced some form of anxiety. Okay, I'd be shocked to say if anybody says no, I don't suffer with it. It's something that we might not actually know we might be suffering from, or we might actually experience. Okay, and Rehit can help us with that because Guru Sahib is telling us, they've given us the answers. They've given us all the answers from the very beginning. We said it at the beginning when we read the Mool Mantra of Aad Sach, Jugad Sach, Hai Pi Sach, Nanak Hosi Bhi Sach. That Guru Sahib is the form of the truth before time was even in existence. Jugad Sach, even throughout the 4 ages, okay, Guru Sahib is the form of the truth. Even in the present day, their teachings are seen to be the truth. And even at the end of time, they're still going to be the form of the truth. So Guru Sahib has given us the answer from the very beginning. But yet in this Western world, we seem to go away from that. Okay? And so Guru Sahib has given us the answer of waking up at Amrit Vella, doing Ishnan, keeping cleanliness, okay, when doing our part, because it will benefit us. Guru Sahib has given us that answer, but in this Western world we seem to go away from it. And something we touched upon was hormones as well, okay. There's a lot of different hormone imbalances, okay. It's something that me and my Singh were talking about, that how the food that we eat can affect the hormones that we have, the imbalances that comes from that, okay. Because if we look at the food that we eat in today's society, okay, how many of us eat processed food? You don't have to put your hands up. We all know, like, okay, it happens, okay. Read the ingredients. Next time you go to pick up something, frozen food or any processed food, read the ingredients, okay. Read those ingredients and see how many you can actually recognize, okay. It might be something as simple as like a veggie burger. You look at the ingredients, there's going to be ingredients in there you don't actually know what that is and what you're actually putting into your body. So Rehit might be controlling what you eat, the types of food that you eat, okay? Because if you look at it, in Guru Sahib's times, these things weren't prominent. But all of a sudden, they are more and more common. It might be that we might be able to talk about them a bit more freely, but you also need to look at what's changed. Because Guru Sahib's teachings haven't changed, it's what we do has started to change. The Rehit that we keep has started to change. And that could be the types of food that we eat, okay? So that's one thing that how Rehit can benefit us. Okay, but Guru Sahib is saying, "Rehni Rehe Soi Sikh Mera, Oh Sai Main Uska Chehra." The person that keeps Rehit, they will become my form. Okay, by keeping Rehit, Guru Sahib is saying that they'll become Sahib, they'll become masters. That any garbage, any obstacle, any job, any task that a Gursikh has to do, the Gursikh that keeps Rehit, Guru Sahib themselves will do it. Guru Sahib themselves will make sure that any obstacles are overcome, any goals are achieved, simply through keeping Rehit. Okay? And now the next Pankti is interesting. It's something that Giani Singh were reading in the Katha yesterday. Rehit bina nehe Sikh kahave. That without Rehit, this Rehit is telling us that they can't be considered as a Sikh. Now it's up to you what you want to take this Rehit to be, okay? Because we might be at different stages, okay? We might be in a stage where we might be just keeping our Kes, we might be thinking about keeping our Kes, we might have received Amrit very recently, and we're just getting accustomed to keeping Rehit. We might have been born into Gursikhi and we've been lucky enough to have that foundation, okay? So think about what that Rehit could be. That Rehit could be not keeping your Kes, doing biadbi of your Kes. That without keeping your Kes, you're not considered a Sikh. If we're on this path already, of not doing your Nityanem every single day. If you don't do your Nityanem, you cannot be considered a Sikh if you're at that stage. If you do a certain amount of part, a certain amount of seva, that could be your Rehit, that could be your discipline, your daily routine. If you don't do that, you could be considered a Sikh. Okay? Rehit banane Sikh kahave. Okay? And then the next pankti, Guru Sahib says, Rehit binaha dara chota khave. What does chota mean? Have you know? Well done. So being hit, blows. Okay? Dara chota khave. That without keeping Rehit bina, you're going to receive many different blows within this world. Okay? Might not just be this world, it might be the next world as well. Okay? So it could be the pain of, the biggest blow we can be dealt with, is the pain of birth and death. Of not receiving mukti. Of having to live within the 84 lakh june. Of having to constantly be reborn and die, reborn, die, reborn, die. That's the biggest blow that we can receive. Okay? But even within this world, we can look at it. So we touched upon mental health, hormone imbalances, any other pain that we might have. Okay, some of the answers might be simply because we haven't kept our Rehit. Okay, like we talked about mental health, that we might not sit down to do our Nityanem every single day. We might just play it whilst we're getting ready, while we're starting at the start, or just have it on whilst we're doing something else. Okay? Think about, is that the Rehit that we should be keeping? It's not always possible to sit down and do your Nityanem. Something I found out very recently when you go to the next stage of life, when you have kids and whatnot. It's not always easy. Okay? That's why it's important to get your Bani memorized. Okay? That might be part of your Rehit, getting your Bani memorized. But somewhere along those lines, the pain that we have can be through our own creation, really, of not keeping Rehit. So it might be in this life where we receive those blows, or it might be in the next life that we receive those blows. Okay, but through not keeping Rehit, we obtain those blows. We get hit daily. Okay, it might be not waking up for Amrit Vela, missing your Amrit Vela at camp. Okay, that could be seen as dealt as a blow. Okay, and the rest of our day might not be the same. And that can be a blow. The way that we feel, the emotions that we feel, okay, can be seen to be could be a consequence of our Rehit, of not keeping the Rehit that we want to keep. Okay, so Rehit bina dara chota khave, Rehit bina sukh kabhu na lehe. So without Rehit, we can never obtain true sukh, true happiness. Okay, now that happiness might be in a worldly sense, of good jobs, good education, good family, okay, because those things do bring us happiness. But if we want to look to true sukh, of finding what our actual the meaning of life is, of actually merging with Maharaj, but having that union with God, okay, that can only come through Rehit. It is only through Rehit that we'll be able to receive mukti, be able to receive liberation. And that's the true path of obtaining that happiness, okay. So within this pankti, within this Rehitanama, Guru Sahib makes it very clear of what the benefits are of keeping Rehit, how that's going to protect us, that we do not have to face those blows, that if we want to obtain sukh, okay, same thing, linking it back to mental health, okay, a lot of people are struggling, and through that struggle they might turn away from Sikhi. But without that Sikhi, we'll never know true happiness, because in this world you can see many different examples where people are multi-millionaires. They have so much money, they don't know what to do with it. But can they buy that happiness? Can they remove the feelings that they're feeling? Can they get that shanti? Can they get that peace of mind that Gurbani will bless us with, or the Guru will bless us with? It's only through keeping a Rehit are we able to actually obtain that happiness. So, just based on that, Rehit binane Sikh kahave, what Rehit should the Khalsa keep? What do you think the first form of Rehit is? Okay, so again, I'm going to give you time to discuss with your partners. Okay, so discuss these 2 points. What rehit should the Khalsa keep, and what is the first rehit of a Sikh? Okay, let's go, and then we'll come back together. It can be seen as because the mother plays such an important part. Okay, the mother has a huge, Bibia has a huge responsibility. Okay, massive responsibility, something you can't even put into words. Okay, of you're talking about seva. The biggest seva anybody can do is make a Gursikh tiyar par tiyar. To raise a Gursikh. It's the biggest seva you can do. To give the Panth a sevadar. To give him a Gursikh. It's the best thing you can do is raising your child in Gurmat. Okay? So yes, Sikhi does start at home. Okay? Because it's something I've seen as a teacher at a faith school where I teach Sikh studies. Some of the parents or some of the students, they think, okay, Sikhis only at school. That they go to a school where Maharaj Kirpan, there is a Nishan Sahib, there is a Sikh studies team there. They do learn about Sikh Itihas, and they think that's enough. But really, they need to go home, and Sikhi has to start from home. Majority of your times, our times, are all at home. Without having that time at home where Sikhi starts from, you won't then be able to bring it into the world potentially. So that could be from a red of Sikhi starting from home, having that seva at home. Okay. What else could it be? What could be the first red of a Gursikh?
To go out and actually find out what everyone's trying to tell you, like to actually try and focus on making that relationship with Guruji, seeing what they actually have to say, so then you can start one hopefully to listen.
Okay. Yeah.
Start developing a relationship.
Okay, so building that bond with your guru. Okay, that could be seen as a form of red. Okay. Anything else? Think about even before, even earlier.
Your curiosity and your mental power, you have to want it to do it.
Okay, you want it to be able to do it. Okay, yes, I would agree with that to a certain extent. Okay, so if we go to, again, we're going back to the Retaname. Okay, so is this something, again, that Giani ji was saying, so the Kartar that you heard yesterday and what you'll be going to be doing every single day, okay, that the Panktiya, the Retaname and the Darne, they're linked to this talk. Okay, that you heard this Pankti, Pratham Rehit Yeh Jaan, Khande ki Pohal Shake. Pratham means first. Rehit means that discipline, Yeh Jaan, know this, that the first discipline that you should keep, Khande ki Pohal Shake. That the first Rehit that we must keep is to receive Amrit. Okay? Now, within our community, within Punjabi community as well, if you broaden it out, okay, we have this theory or this idea that Sikhi is something that we're going to do when we're older. Okay, we're going to receive Amrit when we're older. It's something I used to have, if I went back to when I was like 10, 15 years ago, thinking, okay, one day it would be great to receive Amrit. That we see Amrit as the end game. That we're going to build up. The first I'm going to do this, then 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 I'm going to go to Sikhi. I'm going to do all the things I want to do. I'm going to enjoy my life. When I want to settle down, I'll go into Sikhi. Or it might be that we start to take small steps towards becoming a Gursikh. And we think that before we receive Amrit, there has to be like a benchmark. There has to be a benchmark of what we can do. That this is something I used to think about as well when I was coming into Sikhi. That before I can receive Amrit, I have to be able to do Panj Bani. I have to be able to learn Gurmukhi. I have to make sure my Amrit Vela is pakka. That I can't ever miss Amrit Vela. Okay. It's only when I'll be at that stage where I haven't missed it for so long, then will I be ready to receive Amrit. Okay. So we see Amrit as that ultimate end game. When really Maharaj is saying, the very first thing we should do is receive Amrit. Okay? Because, even just comparing it to that example of, okay, I need to be able to learn Gurmukhi. Amrit is not the end point. It's the very start. The very start of your journey. Okay? You do Ardasa every single day for those tasks that you want to achieve. Of Amrit Vela. Okay? There's Gursikhs at camp. Ask all of them. Okay, you can ask amongst yourselves, Amrit Vela is hard to sambal, to keep consistent. It's very difficult. Okay, that you do ardas for that every single day. So to say that I'm not going to receive Amrit until I'm pakka with my Amrit Wala, is only Guru Sahib's the only one that can do it for you. Okay, so you continue doing that ardas. So you shouldn't let that stop you from receiving Amrit. That you shouldn't let these little obstacles stop you from receiving Amrit, because we build Amrit to be the end game. Really, Amrit is the beginning, Keeping Rehit is the end game. Is what you have to work on every single day, bit by bit, bit by bit, bit by bit, doing it step by step. You build it every single day. Okay, that's known as the first Rehit. And if we break that down even further, okay, some of you might have gone through it, some of you might not be at that stage yet, but when you have children, okay, we have the Janam Sanskar. Okay, the very first thing, the very first ceremony of a Sikh. Okay, so we can link it to the Pankti, or to be able to be called a Sikh. Now, we are going to touch upon the different Kakaars throughout the talk, okay, but there is this theory or a practice that we do, that when a child is born, how do we make that person a Sikh? It's a question. How do you make that person a Sikh?
It's already a Sikh.
Sorry?
It's already a Sikh.
It's already a Sikh. Why is he known to be a Sikh?
He's unaltered from God's work, right? The only thing would be initiating him into the Panj.
Okay.
Giving him the right, but that would come later on.
Yeah.
Or introducing him to Gurbani.
Yeah. So you could be considered a Sikh for what reason? He's unaltered. What does that mean? How is he or she, that Pajangi or Pajangan, how are they already unaltered?
You give them Jula.
Okay, we do give them Jula. Okay, before we even do that, what makes them a Sikh?
Being born in a Sikh household.
Okay, is being born in a Sikh household enough? That's the question. What makes that person a Sikh? You're going to be kicking yourselves when I give you the answer. Well done. Guess. Okay, every single child, okay, no matter what dharam they're born into, every single child in this world will be born with at least one case on their body. It's going to be uncut. Okay, we're sent with a complete complexion. We're going to touch on that a bit later. We're sent complete. It's only within this Western world that we go up against that. Do we go against those teachings that are such a Jugad, such a Hepi, such a Nanak, or Sibi, such? So only in this world do we go against that. So the child's already seen as a Sikh because it has case, it has uncut hair. But it is also an initiation, a first ceremony that takes place. That is the Janam Sanskar. Okay? And then obviously we give the child a form of Amrit there and then. Okay? So some of you might have experienced it, some of you haven't. I was very blessed to do it very quite recently. I rang Giani Singh, I was like, listen, Giani, what do I do? They're like, yeah, you need to do this. I was like, okay, it's so many things I didn't even think about. So you have to have a batta, okay, not like a massive one like you have for Khande Batta Amrit, for Amrit Sanchars. Just a small batta. You put jal in there. I got a Sikh told me this, I didn't even think about this. They were saying use bottled water and then boil it. So you sterilize it for the child. I didn't know that, to be honest. So I did that. And then obviously you got to add the dust in there. Panj Kakaar have around about 5 in there. And then you don't use a khanda, you use a Kirpan, a normal Kirpan that you wear, okay? And you don't read Banjbani Nithanim, like Japji Sahib, Jap Sahib, Tuap Sahib, Chaupe Sahib, and Anand Sahib. You just simply read Japji Sahib, okay? And then there's also, part of that is the Rehit, is also a discipline of how you do it, okay? It should be done in Birasan. Okay, so when you see Amrit being created by the Panj Kakaar, they sit in Birasan where their right knee is elevated and the left knee is down. Even when we receive Amrit, it's in Birasan. Okay, the Janam Sanskar should be done in Birasan, but part of the Rehit is also the Satgar of Gurbani as well, keeping the respect for the Gurbani. So part of that Rehit, that discipline, that respect of Gurbani is that the person that reads Gurbani is never seen to be lower than anybody else. So for example, you're all sitting on chairs, I can't sit on the floor and read Gurbani because you're higher than me, okay? So the person that's reading Gurbani is always seen either on the same level or above. So it's the same in the Darbar side. So if, for example, when the child is born, okay, if the mother's obviously on like a bed, you can't do bidasan on the floor because you're lower than them, okay? So if you're on the same level, you might have a raised platform or sofa or something, you can do it there. I was lucky enough that there was like a sofa in the room, so I was able to do it in Birasan because I was actually higher than Masingani. And you'd also do it on the right hand side of her. Okay, that's another part of that, another part of discipline. The person that reads Gurbani is always seen on the right hand side. Guru Granth Sahib Ji Maharaj is always seen on the far right if there's other Swaroops Prakash. Okay, so even when you look, when we go to the Darbar Sahib and you listen to the Katha, even if you just observe this, the person that's the Parthi Singh, the person that's reading the part, is always sat on the right hand side. Okay, the person that's actually doing the Katha, the person that's actually translating, doing the discourse, they're always seen as the person on the left. Because the person that's reading Gurbani is the person that's respect worthy. So when you do the Janam Sanskar, you use part of that discipline is that you stand on the right hand side and you stand towards where their head is, not to where their feet are. Okay, again, out of respect for Gurbani. Okay, so then you take the Amrit that you create by doing Japji Sahib, do Ardas, and then you give Panj, you give 5 drops to the child. Okay, and then the rest can go to the mother. If beforehand the mother says that she's not going to be able to drink all of that, then the Singh can drink it as well, okay, and then it's given to the Bibi as well, okay. So that's the first adhet of a Gursikh, okay. First part of the Maryada, first part of the discipline of a Sikh is Pratham Rehit Yeh Jaan Khande Ki Bahul Shake. Now that can be seen in different ways, like we've said, okay. It can be seen through the Janam Sanskar, it can be seen through receiving Amrit later on at Amrit Sanchar, okay. So we talked about the nishani of a Gursikh, okay, is through Kes. Just something I want to touch upon, we see this a lot within our culture, is that we think that we put a gada on the child and he's a Sikh. That we think that a gada is the representation of a Sikh. Yes, it is one of our Panj Kakaar, it is one of our nishaniya, but a gada alone is not just the nishani of a Gursikh, okay? They have to have Kes. So, Kes is known as the Shiromani Kakaar, the highest out of the 5 because it's the one we're born with. The rest of them we get blessed with during this life, okay? But Kes is the one that we come with, okay? So therefore it's seen as a Shiromani. But sometimes you'll see people obviously do biyad their Kes, but wear Kada. Yes, it's good to wear Kada because that is a nishani of our Guru, but we must also keep Kes. That's part of the red that we're going to be going through. Now, why receive Amrit? Okay, so we've got some bhakti on the board that we're going to go through, okay, of why we should receive Amrit. That is known as the first adhet, okay. Gurbani tells us that there's Amrit within inside of us already, okay. There's already Amrit within inside of us. My question that I pose to you is, what is the need to receive Amrit through Amrit Sanchar, through the Panj Kakaar? If Amrit is already seen within inside of us, why do we then need to go to the Amrit Sanchar and receive Amrit? Okay. I'm going to give you some time to talk about it with your partners and let's see if we can come up with an answer. Okay, let's go. Why do we need to physically receive Amrit if it's already inside of us? Okay, so why do you need to receive Amrit if there's already Amrit inside of you, like the Gurbani tells us? What's the need?
When you say there's Amrit already inside you, well, what do you mean? What are you saying, sorry?
So the Amrit is already there inside of you, okay? It's there, you just need to find it, okay? But so if that Amrit is already there, why do you need to go receive Amrit?
Where do you know where it is? Have you experienced it, right? So, like, if taking Amrit externally first from the Panj Kakaar, it will give you the data around it so that you can recognize it with yourself.
Okay. Any other answers? Yeah?
And he just said, like, if you want to perfect the inner Amrit, you have to take the outer Amrit as well.
Okay, yeah.
And also, I would say, because, like, I don't know, I've heard this, if you want to go into such camp, it's important and necessary that you take Varga Amrit, if you know what I mean, physical Amrit.
Yeah.
Or else, no matter how many money you're reading or anything, you can't get the dark camp.
So you do need to receive Amrit if you want to go to such camp, because if you look at, let's just look at the Panj Pyare, okay? The Panj Pyare, we're not going to go too much into it, but the Panj Pyare were, obviously they were bhagats from different lives. They were sants from different lives. But even they had so much kamai, they still had to come back and receive Amrit in order to have that pathway cleared for them. Okay, so Amrit is so important in that sense. And you do need to have receive Amrit externally to experience the internal one. The easiest way I could describe it is, think about when you're trying to get water out of the ground. When you dig a well, how do you get to that water? You have to pour water into it, don't you? Okay. When you pour water into it, what happens?
The surface
rises to the surface, then you can experience it. The same with Amrit. Amrit is there inside you, okay? But you need to physically put Amrit inside so that it rises to the top. So then you can taste it, then you can experience the ras of it, okay? So that is why we receive Amrit. So we can bring it to the surface of barakat only. We bring it to the surface, we bring it to the forefront, so we can experience it and we can taste it, okay? Sometimes what happens is, in order to experience that, in order to taste the ras of it, we need to clean ourselves. That we have to receive Amrit, we have to recite Gurbani, we have to recite Naam, Simran, we have to read Mool Mantra, Gur Mantra, whoever's been blessed to us, we need to recite that so we can clean ourselves, okay? And it's only once we're clean, will we then be able to experience that, and experience the blessings of that, okay? So, that could be seen as one reason to receive Amrit, okay? The Guru Sahib tells us within Gurbani, like we can see, that through receiving Amrit, you become Ambar, you become immortal, okay? And one pankti that we read, again Giani ji read it yesterday, and we read it every single day as part of Ananda Sahib, okay? Of Sorananda Manajada Amrit Khojde, so Amrit Gurte Paya. That Gurbani is very simple to understand if we just take some time and look at it. If we do some vichar on it, it's not too hard to understand some of the meanings, okay? Now Guruji is talking about the different Devi Devte, the different deities, be it Vishnu, Brahma, Shivji, all of these Devi Devte, okay? Talk about the Monis as well, those that keep mourn, okay? Mourn means somebody that doesn't speak for a number of years, okay? That they believe that through not speaking, through being quiet physically, they'll be able to quieten their inside, quieten their desires, that fire of desires within inside of them, okay? Within our history, there's many examples where Guru Gobind Singh Sahib Maharaj shows that keeping mourn is not the way to go. That doesn't necessarily mean you're going to be able to make yourself quiet from the inside, okay? But these mournis, those that keep this mourn, so the Devi Devte, the different deities, these people that keep that kind of rate of not speaking, they're all khojdeya. They're looking for it, they're searching for something. They're searching for Amrit, okay? But Amrit can only be given through the true Guru. It can only be given through the Panj Kakaar and the Guru Granth Sahib Ji Maharaj. That's the discipline. They cannot receive Amrit because they're not part of the 84 lakh June. They're simply stuck doing the seva. These different deities are simply stuck doing seva of Vaheguru. They can never actually receive that mukti. Whereas we've all been blessed. We've all been blessed to have the highest form of life. We've been born into the household of Guru Nanak Dev Sahib Ji Maharaj. It's been made easier. Some of us, as people at this camp, they haven't been born into Sikhi, they found Sikhi. For us, we've had that easier step. We've been born into the house of the Guru. We just need to go to our Guru and receive that Amrit. That is part of the discipline of the Khalasa. Okay? So in terms of importance of Kes, so we looked at it a little bit, and you talked about that we're already complete. Okay? That someone might question, unfortunately, in today's day and age, we have loads of people that ask questions, not because they want answers to it, they want to cause shanka, they want to cause doubt, okay? They want us to refrain from following the teachings of our Guru, okay? They're just there simply to cause problems, okay? And one of those questions arises, that where does it say in Gurbani that you should keep Kes? There's a question that comes up, where does it say it? They'll actually physically stand there and argue with you, saying it's not written there. Dil saaf hona chahiye, that you should be clean from the inside. Okay? You can't ever be clean from the inside if you don't have rehit. Okay? Because if someone says, my argument is always, how do you know you're clean from the inside? If someone says that they are clean from the inside, they're not, because they're speaking out of hankar. They're speaking out of ego. Ego in itself, saying that I am clean from the inside, is ego. I. Okay? Gurmukhs, Mahapurukhs, they will never say anything like that about themselves. They will say that they'll say that they're in the Charan or the Sangat. That they'll call themselves all different types of things, but they'll never once say that they're clean from the inside. Because it shows hankar. Okay? So those people that ask these questions, they say Dil saaf hona chahiye, it's nonsense. And the answers are within Gurbani. Okay? Because Guru Sahib says to us, Sabad Surad Distar Sira. Now, Sabat Surah is something that you've mentioned. Sabat Surah means complete complexion, complete form. That we have all, every single person born into this world is born with that complete complexion. Because we're born with gears to a certain extent. Whether it's on your head, whether it's on the arms, whether it's on the back, where it might be on your legs, anywhere. Okay? We're all born with gears to a certain extent. So Guru Sahib is telling us, Sabat Surah, the star sira, that we should keep that complete complexion, we shouldn't change it in any way. So part of that discipline, part of that rehit is that we do not cut any gears from head to toe. We don't wax it, we don't trim it, we don't laser it, we don't dye it, we don't even take, you could even take medicine to oppress the growth of your gears. Even that is biyadbi of your gears. Okay? Coming back to what I said at the beginning, what makes a lion the king of the jungle is its mentality. For us, is our rehit, is that discipline that makes us those kings. As difficult as it is to keep rehit or keep our gears within this society, because of that judgment of people, okay, people, whenever a bibi or a singh starts to keep their gears, first thing their family turns around and says to them, there's like, no one's going to marry you. Okay? They say it straight away. It's a lie, because we're Gursikhs, okay? That's part of the rehit, okay? And if you have love for your guru, then your guru's always going to arrange all your affairs for you. It's already preordained, it's already pre-written for you, okay? Your lekha, everything, your destiny, whatever you want to call it, your karam is always already there for you. So it's going to happen. So don't let those types of comments affect the rehit that you keep, as hard as it may be. Okay, Guru Sahib says, Sabat Surah, the star sira, the sajaa, the star, the malla, or the star on your heads as well. Okay, so anybody asks, where does it say that you should keep your gears? Refer back to this pankti, Sabat Surah, the star sira. Okay, and then we also have examples of where Maharaj, Vaheguru themselves gave darshan to Guru Nanak Dev Sahib Maharaj. Okay, and in the form of a gearsdari. As a person that had gears, okay, evidence is within Gurbani, okay. And then another question or another shanka that people create, another doubt that people just love to throw out there, is that Guru Gobind Singh Sahib Maharaj changed the rehit. The Guru Gobind Singh Sahib Maharaj changed Sikhi. That they gave us all of these teachers of keeping gears, they gave us the teachers of keeping a Kirpan, they made a Shastratari, okay. Look at it again. Sabat Surah, the star sira, is not from the writings of Guru Gobind Singh Sahib Maharaj. It's before their times. Okay? And there's even a Sakhi in the times of Guru Nanak Dev Sahib Maharaj, where they give a teaching to Bhai Mardana Ji's mother. Okay? So Bhai Mardana Ji had many siblings before them. And they all died at a very young age. Okay? So they've had many siblings that have just simply, unfortunately, not survived. And when Bhai Mardana Ji is born, Bhai Mardana Ji's mother doesn't have much hope. Okay? She's thinking that this son of mine is not going to last. I might as well call him Marjana straight away. That he's going to die eventually, so I might as well just keep that in mind and I'll just keep that as his name. And Guru Nanak Dev Sahib Maharaj gave Bhai Mardana Ji's mother a teaching. They said that if you want your son to survive, okay, then follow one teaching. Do not go away from this discipline. Do not go away from this rehit, okay, and your son will survive. That discipline that she got told to follow was to not to cut the hair of Bhai Mardana Ji. Through not cutting the hairs of Bhai Mardana Ji was able to live on within this world and receive mukti, become a Sikh of the Guru. Become a Sikh of Guru Nanak Dev Sahib Maharaj. So we say that, oh yeah, the Guru Gobind Singh Sahib changed Sikhi, they added all these new things in. No. Gears was prominent from the very beginning. It was evident at the very beginning. As was Shastras, as was Amrit, okay, was Guru Gobind Singh Sahib Maharaj effectively put their stamp of authority on those teachings. Okay, they changed the way that Amrit was distributed, because Amrit at the beginning was distributed through the charan, through the blessed feet of the Guru. Okay, up until Guru Gobind Singh Sahib Maharaj until 1699, and then it becomes Khande Bhatta Amrit. Okay, so these teachings were already there. And sometimes we think that okay, we keep the rate of keeping Kes. That we have Kes on our heads, that's enough. That we're allowed to, that it's acceptable for us to do biyadbi of our Kes by cutting other aspects of our Kes, as long as we have the ones that are on the top of our head, okay? And we think that that's acceptable. But there's a Sakhi in the times of Guru Gobind Singh Sahib Maharaj, okay? Where somebody, the Gursikhs are there and Guru Gobind Singh Sahib Maharaj is giving their blessings. That people are being blessed with so many different gifts. Naam Didar, Gursikhi Didar. And a Gursikh comes to Maharaj and they say, Maharaj, Sanui Sakhi Didar Bakshdo. Bless us with Gursikhi as well. And Guru Gobind Singh Sahib Maharaj says no. Say no. If you want to have Sikhi, okay, if you want to receive the blessings of Sikhi, then you must keep Rehit. You must keep your Kes. Now this Sikh said that Guru Sahib, I keep my Kes. I've got my hair on my head. That I have Kes. And Guru Gobind Singh Sahib Maharaj said that no, you must keep your Kes from the top of your head to your toe. Every single body hair, no matter which part of your body it is, it must remain intact. It must remain Sabat Surat. And this Gursikh didn't understand the benefits. Why did they need to keep this Rehit? Why did they need to keep this discipline? And Guru Gobind Singh Sahib Maharaj puts their tir, their arrow, on this Gursikh's head. And they show him something. What they show them is, they show him different types of narak, different types of hell. There's somebody sitting in tapya hoya tel. There's someone sitting in boiling hot oil as a punishment. There's some people are having boiling hot sand poured upon their bodies. Some people are being made to sit within pitch darkness for many years on end. And then Guru Gobind Singh Sahib Maharaj shows this Gursikh how they pull people out of narak, how they pull people out of hell. Guru Gobind Singh Sahib Maharaj says that if one of their Gursikhs accidentally, for whatever reason, ends up in narak, ends up in hell, then they will pull them out by their Kes. The nishani, the symbol of their faith is Kes. And that's not just the hair on their heads, it's their dariyan, it's the rest of their body hair as well. So that is the importance of Kes. We've looked at why I asked that question, how can Rehit protect us? How can it benefit us? It can prevent us to going to such places as narak. It allows our Guru to recognize who we are. In this society, it helps us recognize who we are. Again, coming back to that line, it's that lion's mentality that makes it the king of the jungle. And it's our Rehit that makes us the Gursikhs that we are. Just because I'm cautious of time, we're just going to go through some of the Sakhi a bit quicker. So this Sakhi is in the times of Sant Giani Kartar Singh Ji, so in their final days. Okay, many of you might have heard this Sakhi before. That Sant Giani Kartar Singh Ji for many years did seva. Okay, did Dharam Prachar, promoted people leaving nashe, leaving behind intoxicants and keeping their Kes, receiving Amrit. And the dharna that we hear in the Darbar Sahib by Giani Ji is Sir Jave Da Jave, Mera Sikhi Se Dekh Na Jave. That may my head be cut off, may I even lose my life, but may my Sikhi not be affected. Let me keep my Rehit intact. And Sant Giani Kartar Singh Ji is famous for reading this dharna. You can go online, you can hear them singing this dharna. Okay. And in their final days, they actually, cutting a bit short, they were involved in a car crash, okay, and an accident, and they were told that the doctors can save their life, okay, that they just need to do a minor operation, but with that minor operation, they just have to cut a few body hairs, okay. And Sant Giani Kartar Singh Ji, even though they were obviously they've received such a serious injury, they said no. They said that we spent our whole life doing prachar, okay, of keeping our Kes. We're not going to go away from this just to prolong our life. So we can look at the love that they have for their Kes, that they would rather accept that they're going to depart this world rather than removing their Kes. So it just shows us the love that we should have, okay. So sometimes what we do is we want to become accepted within society. This is for both the Singhs and the Bibiyans as well. That we want to become accepted within society. So we try to fit into the way society works, okay? And we lose the beauty of our Kes, of any of our Kakaars, okay? So it just shows us the importance of keeping our Kes. So we're going to have a Kanga. Okay, so these ones we're going to go through a bit quickly just because we're a bit short in time. So Guru Sahib tells us within the Rehatname that your Kanga should be wooden, okay, because scientifically it removes static energy, okay. You should do your Kanga twice a day. And also just something I want to touch upon here is in Bhai Gurmillan Singh Ji's Rehatnama, it talks about Sikhs that wear topiyan, those that wear hats. Okay, they're saying within this Rehatnama that those that do this, they're going to receive a lot of diseases. They're going to go into different forms of nark through wearing a topi. Okay, so please do refrain from that because it's not part of the Rehat of keeping our case of a Gursikh either. It's not the nishani of a Gursikh. Okay, we've had Gursikhs given their shahidiyan to keep our dastars intact. We don't have to fit into this Western world and wear these topiyan to try to fit in. Gursikhs have given their shahidiyan for what we have been blessed with, but yet we want to turn it away for fashion or to try and fit in with society. Kara. So this is, can't really see it well, but it's a picture of Baba Deep Singh Ji's Kara. It's a circular shape and it represents no beginning or end to Guru Sahib. But you can also see it's part of the Rehat of being handcuffed. Okay, being handcuffed to Maharaj, then what should we be doing? What kind of Rehat are we living up to? Okay, are we doing those actions of a Gursikh? Okay, especially today. Okay, so today obviously we have a lot of social media. With social media we've got a lot of problems. Okay, between the comments that we've been made, people how we're judging people, but also how we're going against the Rehat of a Khalsa of not actually interacting with the opposite gender in a certain way. That we're seeing more and more people, Gursikhs especially, dating one another. Okay, and if you look to where it starts from, where it stems from, we can trace it back to social media. Of what kind of messages are we replying to? What kind of stories are we putting up, hoping that people comment on them so we can interact with that person? We're trying to look for that spark to set off that conversation. Whilst you're using your hands to do those actions, you should be reminded by your kara of what are you doing? What kind of message are you putting out there? Is what you're sending out appropriate? Is it necessary? Okay, so the kara there is there to remind us of the rehta that we should be keeping. Okay. Then we have the importance of a Kirpan. Kirpan Panatariyang, Karor Papatariyang. Just by simply wearing a Kirpan. Okay? Simply through wearing a Kirpan, Karor means millions. Millions of paths, millions of sins are simply washed away. Just simply through keeping the Rehat of the Khalsa. Keeping the Rehat of Gursikhi. Okay? And just something... Just to mention, a Kirpan only has two uses. Only two things you can use your Kirpan for. One's for Borg, like we see in the Darbar side, okay? And the other one's to uphold Dharam, okay? To uphold righteousness, to uphold faith, okay? Many times you see these things, they go on holiday and don't have a knife to cut through. They start using a Kirpan to hack away at a big piece of fruit, okay? It's not what a Kirpan's for, okay? Yes, you can use other things to do that, but the Rehat of a Kirpan is to keep to lower Borg and to defend Dharam. And now, just to mention one of the other shankar that come up, other doubts that people love to put out there, is that why should the Khalsa keep their Kirpans? That they say that, oh, that was Guru Sahib Sama, that was Jang Jod, that was the times of battles, okay? That time's past now. That we don't have need for that in today's society because we're not in those battles, okay? But we can look to the times of Guru Hargobind Sahib Ji Maharaj, where they told Sri Guru Har Rai Sahib Ji to keep 2,200 soldiers with them at all times. They gave them shastras, they keep them on horseback, okay? But they were never allowed to go into battle, okay? Now that can be seen as what we've been given. We've been told to keep our Kirpans, okay, but we don't necessarily use them. But because it's the Bachan, because it's the command of our Guru, because it's part of that rehta that we've been given, we follow that to 100%. And then the benefits come from that. So many times, many different enemies come to attack Sri Guru Har Rai Sahib Ji Maharaj. But before they could even come, they would meet their end. Simply because Guru Har Rai Sahib Ji Maharaj has kept that discipline of following their command of their Guru. In the same way that Guru Gobind Singh Sahib Maharaj just told us that we must keep our Kirpan, that we must become Shastardari, okay? A Gursikh can keep many different Shastar, but has to keep at least one on them at all times, okay? And through that, all of these different obstacles that we have, all these different sins or barbs that we've committed, okay, can be removed and will be removed through following that discipline, okay? So again, the importance of Kashera keeps our modesty, keeps us in check. It's like a seatbelt, isn't it? Okay. Before you do any physical action with somebody outside of marriage, your Kashera is there to remind you. Okay. So another shanka, another doubt that people put out there is, where does it say within Gurbani that we should adorn the Panj Kakaar? Anybody know? Anybody have any idea? Where does Guru Sahib tell us that we should keep Panj Kakaar Rehit? Give you a clue, you read it every day. It's not necessarily the first meaning, but it's a meaning of it. Panj Parvan, Panj Pardhan, Panj Pavhe Dargehman. Okay? So, Gurbani has many different meanings. Okay? The meanings are endless. And this body in particular has so many different arths. The first one of Panch means Shrest, means highest. Okay, so Guru Sahib is talking about where you have the Sunaya Poriya, about Manne, okay, so about believing. So you have listening, you have believing, and then implementing. Okay, there are the 3 stages that even Giani was talking about yesterday. So having listened to it, having believed in those teachings, then implementing those teachings, Guruji is now describing what the benefits are. Those that have gone through those stages, what happens to them? Panch Parvan, that they become Shrest, they become the highest, they become Parvan, they become accepted. Panch Pardhan, they become leaders. Panche Pahave Dargheman, that within the Darbar, and within the Dargah, within the court of Maharaj, they obtain that mana, they obtain that honor, because they've listened, believed, and implemented. They become the Rajan, they become the Raje, because they've gone through those stages. Now, when you go through Japji Sahib, if you go through like a translation of Japji Sahib, or the Gatha of Japji Sahib, this is one of the longest bodhyan you would go through, because there's so many different meanings. That Panch can now mean 5, and it can now refer to the Panch Pyare. Those that give their heads to Maharaj, they become accepted, because they're the first ones to do it. They become Pradhan because they become the leaders, they become the Mukhis, because it becomes their responsibility. Part of the Rehit is that only Panj Pyare can Shikar Amrit. Okay, they obtain that honor within Maharaj's Darbar Sahib because they're the first ones to do it. Now you can also take this to be those that adorn the Panj Kakaar. That we, by wearing the Panj Kakaar, we become accepted in Maharaj's Darbar Sahib. We receive honor within Maharaj's Darbar Sahib. We become those leaders. Okay, just like how we said the king of the jungle. Okay. We can become those kings of the jungles because we can become accepted within the court of Maharaj. So I do apologize for going through this quicker than what I would have liked to. But who wants to become a warrior? I'm sure we all do. Okay, you can see many different pictures on the board. Okay, so you can got Baba Deep Singh Ji, Bhai Bachitra Singh Ji, Sahibzade. Even more modern day Gursikhs such as Sant Giani Janel Singh Ji. Okay, I'm sure we all want to become warriors. Okay, and there's 4 different types of warriors within this world. Okay, and we are going to link it back to Rehit in a moment. But there's 4 different types of warriors. So you have a Surma, that's the first type of warrior, the person that can fight one-on-one and be successful. Then you have a Rati, which can handle 1 to 1,000 soldiers by themselves. Then you have a Maharati, which can fight tens of thousands of soldiers by themselves and still be successful. And then you have the Atarati, which can fight against countless soldiers and still be successful, such as by Uday Singh Ji in the Battle of Sarasa, where they fought against hundreds of thousands of soldiers by themselves for many hours on end. Okay. My question to you is, do you think that's achievable for us? Do you think that's attainable? Yes or no? 50 answer. Do you think it's attainable? Okay. It might seem very daunting to get to these levels. We might never get to those levels, but to become a shaheed, You have to have countless amount of janams, of kamai, of abhyas, of practice, of amount of naam that you must have recited in order to get to that level, to say that you're, to obtain shahidi, or to become a Sant, or become a Mahapurakh. You need countless amount of janams to get to that stage. So we might think that it's very difficult for us to get to that stage. So there's spiritual sides to these different types of warriors, which are achievable through keeping rehit, keeping discipline. Okay? So a surma can be seen as that person that keeps such a rehit that they don't go into bad sangat. That you don't go to those, you don't hang out with those people that you know where they're just going to be swearing, they might just be talking about people in a negative way, might be talking of the opposite gender in a negative way, okay? The surma is that person that changes his friend circle, that changes his sangat, because they know that that's not good for them. That can be seen as a surma. Then you have a rati, is a spiritual warrior that might end up in those places where sins are happening, okay? It's not always something that's in our control. I'm sure we've all been to different family functions where people have started to either drink or eat meat or whatever. Okay, it's not always possible to protect ourselves from that. But even if they do end up there, they ensure that they control their senses, that they don't indulge within those different sins that take place. Okay, so that's a rati. Then you have a maharati. It's such a Gursikh that keeps such a rehit that they don't even allow the thoughts of committing those sins into their mind. And that is through rehit. The only way you can do that is by disciplining yourselves. The things that you listen to, the things that you watch, the things that you say will have an impact on your mind, will have an impact on the thoughts that come into your mind. If you're sitting there watching videos where it's degrading women, okay, or it's about lust, or it's about different relationships, you can almost guarantee the thoughts that come into your mind are going to be those of calm. If you're watching videos, or you might be on social media, if you're looking at different models within the world, different influences within the world, okay, the Singhs might see that and think, okay, that's what Bibia should be. So they're putting that image within their mind already. And that's causing a lot of problems. The Bibia think that they need to live up to that standard. So they start to go against their rehit. So without even thinking about it, we're actually influeing the rehit of somebody else, because we're thinking that's the level that they should be. The Bibi might think, okay, that's what we want to become. They might start disrespecting their gears in some sort of way, okay? So what we're doing with our senses is affecting us. And that's what's controlling our thoughts. So if we control what we watch, what we listen to, what we say, okay, we'll be able to control those thoughts eventually, okay? So the Maharati is that person that doesn't even allow wrongful acts to enter their mind at any time because of the discipline that they keep. The Atarati is the person that's already won with Akal Prakwai Guru, is already won with Maharaj. Okay, so those different types of warriors, those statuses are achievable through keeping discipline. Okay, and we can spend this whole camp just talking about it. We wouldn't come to the end of it. Okay, every single day you could do better. You can always improve. Okay, every day is a new day to keep your head, to better yourselves as a Gursikh. Okay, so this can be seen as like an accelerator, a booster. The rehit that you keep, of Rehit is written that you should see Maharaj twice a day. Not always possible. Even seeing Maharaj once a day is very difficult, sometimes with our work schedules. But here you have a chance to stay with Maharaj for 4 or 5 days. Okay, so it's like an accelerator. So take something away from this camp, from this talk, that you want to implement within your lives. How are you going to better your rehit? It might be not eating a particular food. It might be doing a particular extra bani. Okay. They also say if you do have any obstacles, okay, within your life, if you do the seva of your Panj Kakaar, okay, you march them, you clean them, then that can make that garbage, that clear the pathway. Okay. So even just doing satgar of your Kakaar, that part of that discipline of keeping your Kakaars clean, okay, even that can benefit us hugely. Okay. So I do apologise that I've taken up more of your time, okay? If you do have any questions, feel free to ask, okay? Please forgive me for any of my mistakes that I've made. If I've said anything that's offended anybody, please know it's not my intention to do so. We're just trying to share the teachings of our Guru so that we can all become better Sikhs, okay? So what we're going to do, we're just going to do some simra and then we'll head off towards your group time, okay? ਵਾਹਿਗੁਰੂ 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 ਜੀ ਕਾ ਖਾਲਸਾ ਵਾਹਿਗੁਰੂ ਜੀ ਕੀ ਫਤਿਹ।